Welcome back to the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad, everybody. I thought I'd give you a little bit of a status update of the things that happened here over the Christmas break. Had a little time off and got some progress done on the railroad here and wanted to show you about that and show you a couple other things we have going on here at the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad Section House. And we're back over here in the Madison Subdivision, Burlington Northern Madison Subdivision staging yard here. I did put in a couple of feeder wires here, and that was basically the thrust of my activities here, is getting stuff tuned up and working very well in the staging areas so that we can start building bench work over the top of those areas. The next step obviously will be in the staging areas is getting switch machines put on, but after that we plan to go full speed ahead on the bench work above. So that'll be the main level, the Corson subdivision from Garrettson to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and then, of course, the high line on the top level here, the Deadwood branch from Edgemont, South Dakota up to Deadwood, South Dakota. As I mentioned, we put in a bunch of feeders to get power off of the bus wires down below the layout here into the track. What I've tried to do is a feeder every other section of flex track, so that would mean that we actually do have every section of flex track attached to a feeder, either by a solder joint or directly by a feeder itself. The other thing that I did that had been annoying is I dropped a bunch of Loconet cable and put in a couple of UP5s, Digitrax UP5s. That allows us to plug in throttles and have a little bit more finite control over the trains as they move around. I don't always move trains by the local driver or the engine driver application on the phone. It's sometimes just handier to use a Digitrax DT400. In this case, I have the old Simplex radio DT400Rs, and they don't always work the best anymore. So having them plugged in is a definite positive way to communicate to the command station and communicate with trains as they move through the layout. Didn't do a whole lot in the Sioux City staging yard, did a little bit of cleaning, but here you see got a couple of smaller Jeeps here that are pulling a train around. Use that to kind of evaluate the track work or the improvements that I was making to make sure everything would run smoothly. And things for the most part in that department are going very well. Happy to report. On a side note, I did spend some time in getting a Google Chromecast put in down here, and I found out that my Wi-Fi down here in the layout area is wholly inadequate. So I will be replacing that wireless access point here in this area very shortly after I can get one off of eBay. Then I guess the big news of this update is we got the drill track and the beginnings of the Burlington Northern Marshall Subdivision put in here on the north end of the Sioux City Yard. And you can see that here starting these two tracks. The far track is the main line, and the near track here is the a drill track, or the basically the yard throat here where my left hand is. And I'll go into detail about what the drill track is if you're not familiar with that, probably in another episode here. But that's very important to our yard crews to be able to have a drill track to be able to move trains over from the yard onto the arrival departure tracks and vice versa. So if you follow this track kind of up the hill here, again, in the foreground is the drill track, and the background is the main line that will come out on the other side of the wall over there at Garrettson on the main level immediately above staging. And I did put a bunch of feeders in here, a bunch of feeders in the CNW Sioux City Yard here that's in the middle ground. And then we also worked a bit on the Madison Subdivision, or excuse me, the Burlington Northern Marshall Subdivision, which is north of Garrettson. They'll come through here as the Marshall Subdivision main line and continue in the foreground here in this first track closest to the edge of the bench work behind these DT400s, and then continue into the Marshall Yard. And this is basically the northern terminus for, as far as my layout is concerned, of the Marshall Subdivision. And the reason why I wanted to put this on the layout is because I wanted to be able to draw corn syrup cars out of here for a customer that we're going to have on the High Line. As I mentioned, I put in a bunch of feeders, and many of them went in here in the Whitewood staging area on the DM&E. The Whitewood staging area basically is kind of useless right now. Its primary function on the operating railroad will be to stage DM&E trains, which will continue up the Helix over here and end up at Deadwood, South Dakota at the top of the Helix, which does not exist right now on the most high level on the railroad here. So I wanted to introduce some pictures that I have from the week that was. And one of the things that I did is ran up a grain train under Burlington Northern Power from Whitewood to Deadwood. And you can see that I kind of missed the mark here because we didn't actually get to Deadwood because it doesn't really exist on this layout. And we may end up doing a episode just with these 3 units, or maybe one of the 3 at a time. The 6430 is my custom paint job from many years back, as is the 6309. And the 5749 is a Atlas factory painted unit that I've done some pretty heavy cosmetic modifications to it to get it in shape and looking good for service on my railroad. The first thing is we did make a bunch of progress on the Visitor from the East SD40-2 project. I've got some more videos coming up on that for you, the detailing, painting, that type of thing. We got videos put together. I actually filmed quite some time ago, but got those videos edited and put out for you. You'll see those in a couple of weeks. It appears Ada needs to make me another sign here for Marshall Yard for the Burlington Northern. We've got a sign for the DM&E Whitewood Yard and a sign for Burlington Northern Sioux City Yard. She's been so kind and artistic to make signs for us as we've been moving through construction here on the Black Hills and Eastern Railroad. The grain train is split here because I had to do some work down the other side of the Helix, and I didn't want to knock cars over as I was doing that work. So I guess here's where we're going to pull the pin for this episode. Hope you like the content here. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe for more, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.